Romeo and Juliet Act 1, Scene 1. Hopefully everything you need to know. Part 2. We are picking up on line 104. The prince had just given his decree, and everyone had left but Montague, his wife, and Benvolio, one of his nephew, I believe. Montague says, "Well, who set this ancient quarrel new abroach? Who started this up again? Speak, nephew, were you by when it began?" Benvolio answers, gives an explanation. "Here were the servants of your adversary, and yours, close fighting, ere, which means before, E-R-E means before, I did approach." So all these servants were fighting when I showed up. I drew to part them. I took my sword out to try to part them, and in that instant came the fiery, meaning the angry and prone to argue, Tybalt, with the sword prepared, which, as he breathed defiance to my ears, he didn't want to hear anything about peace, he swung about his head and cut the winds. In other words, he came in and it was all about the fight. Who, nothing hurt withal, hissed him in scorn, while we were interchanging thrusts and blows, came more and more, and fought on part and part, till the prince came, who parted either part. So in other words, as we were fighting, more and more people came in and were brawling. Montague's wife says, "Where is Romeo? Saw you him today? Right glad I am he was not at this fray." So Romeo is their son, and he was nowhere to be found during this fight, and she's glad of it. Benvolio says, "Madam, an hour before the worshipped sun peered forth the golden window of the east." So an hour before morning. That's a fancy way of saying an hour before dawn. "A troubled mind drave me to walk abroad, where, underneath the grove of sycamore that westward rooteth from the city's side," you know that tree over there? Well, I was walking there because my mind was troubled. "So early walking did I see your son. I saw Romeo this morning. Towards him I made, but he was ware of me and stole into the covert of the wood." So in other words, he saw me and he bolted. "I, measuring his affections by my own," I wasn't in a good mood. I didn't want to go talk to him. "Which then most sought where most might not be found, being one too many by my weary self." In other words, I didn't want to be myself. I was one person too many just alone, and he obviously didn't want to be with me, and I didn't want to talk to him. So, "Pursued by my humor, not pursuing his, and gladly shunned, who gladly fled from me." I just let him go. I didn't want to deal with it, and he obviously didn't want to deal with me. Montague, "Many a morning hath he been there seen, with tears augmenting the fresh morning's dew." He's up a lot early crying. "Adding to clouds, more clouds with his deep sighs." So it's a very depressing picture here. "But all so soon as the all-cheering sun should in the farthest east begin to draw the shady curtains from Aurora's bed." That's an allusion. In other words, the sun is coming and taking the curtains from the bed curtains to let in the light. "Away from light steals home my heavy son, and private in his chamber pens himself, shuts up his windows, locks fair daylight out, and makes himself an artificial night." So when the sun comes up, he goes in his room and shuts everything and broods and pouts in the dark. "Black and portentous meaning like ominous, like clouds are going to tell a storm is coming. Must this humor prove, unless good counsel may the cause remove." We have to do something because it's not good to be depressed and bummed out. "My noble uncle, do you know the cause? What's wrong with him?" "I neither know it nor can learn of him." So we have no clue, right? "Have you importuned him by any means?" In other words, have you asked him? Montague says, "Both by myself and many other friends, but he, his own affections' counselor," so he's dealing with his emotions by himself, "is to himself. I will not say how true, but to himself so secret and so close, and so far from sounding a discovery, as is the bud bit with an envious worm." So we have a simile here, right? So he keeps to himself, and so like if he was a flower, before he bloomed, a worm would have eaten it, and so we can't see what the flower would have looked like. So we can't get anything out of him. "Ere, before he can spread his sweet leaves to the air, or dedicate his beauty to the sun, could we but learn from whence his sorrows grow, we would as willingly give cure as know." If we could figure it out, we would help him. And that's what we want to do. Romeo comes in at this point. Benvolio, "See where he comes, so please you step aside, I'll know his grievance, or be much denied. I would thou wert so happy by thy stay to hear true shrift. Come, madam, let's away." In other words, I want you to find out. That's great. Let's go so you can talk to him. Benvolio says, "Good morrow, cousin." Romeo, "Is the day so young?" In other words, is it still morning? Benvolio, "But new struck 9. It's early in the morning. 9 o'clock. Romeo, "Ay me, sad hours seem long. I'm so bummed out that time is just dragging by. Was that my father that went hence so fast?" "It was." "Well, what sadness lengthens Romeo's hours? Why are you so bummed, bud?" "Not having that which, having, makes them short." In other words, I don't have what would make time go fast. Benvolio asks, "In love? Love would make time go short?" "Out." Benvolio, "Of love?" Romeo, "Out of her favor, where I am in love." In other words, I'm in love with someone and I'm not in their favor. They're not giving me the time of day. Benvolio, "Alas, that love, so gentle in his view, should be so tyrannous and rough in proof." So love seems to be a great and nice thing, but when it's like this, it seems like a tyrant. In other words, it beats you up. Romeo, and there's a whole lot of love talk here. "Alas, that love, whose view is muffled still, should without eyes see pathways to his will." In other words, I want to figure out how to make this better. "Where shall we dine? Oh me, what fray was here?" So he notices there was a fight. "Yet tell me not, for I have heard it all. Here's much to do with hate, but more with love. Why then, O brawling love, O loving hate, O anything of nothing first create, O heavy lightness, serious vanity, misshapen chaos of well-seeming forms, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health, still waking sleep, that is not what it is. This love feel I, that feel no love in this. Dost thou not laugh?" So he goes through this weird speech, right, with a whole bunch of conflicting opposites. So he starts with love and hate. I see this scene, and it's the opposite of what I'm feeling. I see the scene of hatred, and yet I'm hating life because of love here. So he gives these total list of contrasts. Heavy lightness, right? Misshaping stuff of things that are shaped well. Feather of lead. So all of these contradictions, and he feels love, and yet he feels no love in this situation, in this scene. Do you not want to laugh? Benvolio, "No, cousin, I'd rather weep." Romeo says, "Good heart, at what? Why do you want to cry rather than laugh?" Benvolio says, "At thy good heart's oppression. You're bumming me out, dude." Romeo, "Why, such is love's transgression. Griefs of mine own lie heavy in my breast, which thou wilt propagate to have it pressed with more of thine. That this love that thou hast shown doth add more grief too much of mine own." In other words, I'm bummed that my love hurt here, right? My heavy heart is making yours worse. It actually, by me making yours worse, your sadness over it makes my sadness even worse. "Love is a smoke made with the fume of sighs, being purged, a fire sparkling in lovers' eyes, being vexed, a sea nourished with lovers' tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet, a choking gall, and a preserving sweet." Again, with the contrast, love is, when it's fulfilled, amazing and beautiful, and it's candy and sugar and everything nice. And when it's not fulfilled, it's clouds and doomsday and madness, right? Benvolio says, "Soft, I will go along, and if you leave me so, you do me wrong. I want to go with you. I want to help you out. You're bummed." Romeo, "Tut, I've lost myself. I'm not here. This is not Romeo. He's some other where. So I'm not myself because I'm so lovesick." Benvolio, "Tell me in sadness, who is it that you love? What chick is doing this to you?" Romeo, "What, shall I groan and tell thee? Just to say her name is going to make it worse." Benvolio, "Groan, why no, but sadly tell me who." Romeo, "Bid a sick man in sadness make his will." In other words, you're making, if I was dying and you said, "Can you write your will out?" That's like you making me say her name. "A word ill urged to one that is so ill. In sadness, cousin, I do love a woman." Benvolio, "I aimed so near when I supposed you loved." So I knew this was something to do with a lady. Romeo, "A right good markman, and she's fair I love." In other words, she's good looking. A right fair mark, cuz, is soonest hit. So she's a good mate, then she's the one to go for. That's who you're going to be attracted to, right? Well, Romeo says, in that hit you miss, she'll not be hit with Cupid's arrow. She hath Dian's wit, and in strong proof of chastity well armed, from love's weak childish bow she lives unharmed. So she's strong in her will not to be seduced or wooed by him. She's not going to be, she's committed to not dating and marrying. I think it's because she's going to become a nun. She will not stay the siege in loving terms, nor bid the encounter of assailing eyes, nor ope her lap to saint-seducing gold. Oh, she is rich in beauty, only poor, that when she dies, the beauty dies her store. So she is not going to answer flirting, and she's not going to be seduced by gifts or anything like that. She's rich in beauty, and that's unattainable right now. So when she dies, that beauty is going to die with her. It's not going to be enjoyed by him or any other man. Benvolio, then she hath sworn that she will still live chaste. Romeo, now the chaste means you're not going to mess around with the opposite sex. She hath, and in that sparing makes huge waste. She's wasting her beauty. For beauty starved with her severity cuts beauty off from all posterity. She's not going to make children. She is too fair, too wise, wisely too fair, to merit bliss by making me despair. She hath forsworn to love, and in that vow do I live dead, that live to tell it now. So her refusal to have romance with anyone has killed him, right? Be ruled by me, forget to think of her. In other words, let me help you out. I'll make you forget her. Teach me how I should forget to think. By giving liberty unto thine eyes. Examine other beauties. Check out other women. You'll forget her. Romeo says, 'tis the way to call hers exquisite and question more. In other words, compared to this woman, all others are Bowsers. They're not going to compare. These happy masks that kiss fair ladies' brows, being black, puts us in mind they hide the fair. He that is struck and blind cannot forget the precious treasure of his eyesight lost. I've seen her. I've seen true beauty. I'm not going to see it anywhere else. Show me a mistress that is passing fair. What doth her beauty serve but as a note where I may read who passed that passing fair? So another pretty girl is just going to remind me of her prettiness. Farewell, you can't teach me to forget. I'll pay that doctrine or else die in debt. Oh yeah, bud, I'm going to tell you and prove to you that I'll help you forget. End of scene 1.